Hello and welcome to Basics for Gamers presents D&D 5th Edition Basics of Flanking and Opportunity Attacks. These are two of the most common combat options used by players. In this presentation we'll discuss what they are, when they apply, and what benefits a character receives when using them. Flanking is a commonly used but technically optional rule in 5th Edition. Flanking occurs when a creature has to defend itself from enemies on either side of it. Their attention is split, which grants advantage to the melee attack rolls of those who trigger the flanking effect. To receive advantage for flanking, you and an ally must be adjacent to a target, and a targeting line drawn from the middle of your square to the middle of your ally's square must pass through opposite borders or opposite corners of your enemy. If you or your ally is sized large or bigger, you may choose any of that character's occupied squares to draw the line from the middle of. Also, you and your ally must be conscious and be able to see the enemy that you wish to flank. Let's illustrate this by looking at a few examples. Here we see Quinn and Dela fighting a hill giant. We'll assume that they're both wielding melee weapons, are conscious, and can see the giant. Let's check and see if Quinn receives advantage for flanking his enemy. We ask ourselves, is there an ally of Quinn's on the giant's opposite border? On the other side we have Dela, and to confirm that she is on the opposite border, we draw a line from the center of Quinn's square to the center of Dela's square. Since this line clearly passes through opposite borders of the giant's area, we know that this satisfies the rule, and therefore Quinn and Dela receive advantage to their melee attack rolls for flanking the giant. In the second example, Melik joins the fight. The giant is also being attacked by two of his allies, Quinn and Dela, but if we draw lines from Melik to both of them, neither of those lines pass through the opposite border of his target. And he can't draw a line to Jazeera because she is not adjacent to the monster. Therefore, Melik is not flanking the giant. And in our third example, it's the goblin's turn. We'll assume that it is wielding a melee weapon, so does it have flanking on Jazeera? He is adjacent to her, but does he have an ally adjacent to Jazeera's opposite border? And the answer is no. Although the giant is a size-huge creature with 10 feet of reach and is capable of making melee attacks against Jazeera from 2 squares away, flanking specifically says the creature must be adjacent. Therefore, Jazeera is not being flanked, and the goblin does not receive advantage to his melee attack rolls. For our last example, do any of the heroes have flanking against the giant? No, they do not. Because if we draw lines between them, none of them pass through opposite borders of the giant. But if Melik moves here, he and Quinn do have flanking now, because their line passes through opposite corners. There are two last considerations we should discuss about flanking before we move on. The first was touched on in our previous example. What happens when a creature has reach with a melee weapon, meaning that they can strike a target that is 10 feet or 2 squares away? In similar D20 rule systems like previous editions of D&D or Pathfinder, creatures with reach could both provide and take advantage of flanking. But by the letter of the rule in 5th edition, you must be adjacent to the target, so reach rules do not apply here. Also, the question often arises about actions that are not weapon attacks. For example, what if you have flanking and cast Shocking Grasp? It's a spell with the range of touch, and its description instructs the caster to make a melee spell attack against their target. Would you receive the benefits of advantage here for making a melee spell attack? And yes, you would. The rule for flanking states that you gain flanking when making a melee attack. It does not specify that it must be a melee weapon attack. Therefore, melee spell attacks do gain advantage for flanking. But what about other spells that attack adjacent enemies, like Burning Hands? It has a range of self and says fire to anything within a 15-foot cone. This would attack a target that is adjacent to you, but would you receive any benefits from flanking? No, because Burning Hands does not call for a melee spell attack roll, even though it does damage enemies next to you. Instead, it calls for a dexterity saving throw, which is not an attack roll. And also, this means the target does not get disadvantage on that saving throw. Plus, using Burning Hands here is probably an awful idea, because you'd likely fry your buddy on the target's other side anyway. When an enemy within your reach lowers their guard, they become vulnerable to you taking advantage of them and striking. This is called an opportunity attack. Opportunity attacks are melee attacks, they cost your reaction for that turn, and are triggered when an enemy steps out of your reach. This is an interrupt action, meaning that it interrupts your enemy's movement. The opportunity attack occurs just before the target steps out of your reach. Triggering an opportunity attack is often referred to as provoking an opportunity attack, and 3 criteria must be met in order to provoke that opportunity attack. First, you must be able to see your target. Second, the target must move out of the area that you can attack or reach with your current melee weapon. Third, the enemy must not be using the disengage action, teleporting, or being moved by someone or something else that does not use that enemy's movement, action, or reaction. Disengage is an action that allows you to avoid opportunity attacks for the rest of the turn. It costs that round's action, but then allows you to move freely without provoking opportunity attacks from any enemies for the rest of your turn. We'll break it down with a few examples. First, Quinn is wielding a longsword and is engaged in combat with a hill giant. The hill giant spends its movement to walk 30 feet away from him. Does this provoke an opportunity attack? Well, let's check the 3 criteria. First, we'll assume the area is well lit and the hill giant isn't invisible, so we'll say yes, Quinn can see it. Second, Quinn's longsword has a reach of 5 feet or 1 square in every direction, and the hill giant moves out of that zone. So the second criteria is met. And third, the hill giant was not using the disengage action, it wasn't teleporting, or being moved by someone or something else, so the third criteria is met and Quinn may spend his reaction that round to make a melee attack against the hill giant. In our second example, Jazeera joins the fight. She wants to flank the hill giant, and while moving into flanking position, she moves out of several squares that are within the hill giant's reach. Does this allow the giant to make an opportunity attack against her? Again, let's check the criteria. First, we'll assume the hill giant can see her, so that criteria is met. Second, does Jazeera move out of the area the hill giant can reach with a melee attack? No, she does not. She moves out of squares that are within that zone, but she never leaves the giant's reach. Therefore, the second condition is not met, and the hill giant does not get an opportunity attack against her. In our third example, Quinn uses the disengage action and moves 30 feet away from the giant and does not provoke an opportunity attack because he used disengage. In our last example, the giant succeeds at a shove attack against Jazeera, pushing her a square away from the goblin. Does the goblin get an opportunity attack on Jazeera for moving out of its reach? No, the goblin doesn't, because her movement was forced by someone else using an effect that did not use her action, reaction, or movement. Let's do a quick review. When you and an ally have an enemy trapped between you, you both may have flanking and receive advantage to your melee attacks. The keys to remember here are you must be on opposite borders or opposite corners of the enemy. You must both be adjacent to the enemy, even if you're armed with a reach weapon like a spear, and the flanking only grants advantage to melee attacks, which includes melee spell attacks, but not spells that do not specifically call for a melee spell attack roll. For example, any spell that damages an adjacent enemy but calls for them to make a dexterity saving throw instead of you rolling the melee spell attack roll. And last, we covered opportunity attacks. When an enemy moves out of the area that you can reach with your melee attack, they expose themselves, and you may use your reaction that round to make a melee attack against them. Opportunity attacks are only provoked by moving out of the reach of an opponent, with a few important exceptions. A target does not provoke an opportunity attack if they use the disengage action, if they teleport, or if they are being moved by someone or something else in a manner that does not consume their movement, action, or reaction. For example, shoving an enemy out of an ally's reach does not allow an opportunity attack. But using the command spell and telling the target to flee would provoke opportunity attacks, because in this case the target is using their movement to obey the flee command. With that, we'll bring this video to a close. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss out on our future videos. Leave us a comment letting us know what topics you'd like to see covered in our future videos, and we can always be reached through our Twitter and Facebook pages too. If you'd like to use some of the maps that we feature in our videos in your own games, you can find them at Maps of Mastery. A link to that store can be found in the description. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon with more basics for your favorite tabletop games.